Zohran Mamdani is the mayor of New York. A former CIA agent is the new governor of Virginia. A former naval intelligence agent is the new Democratic governor of New Jersey. And the Democrats scored some big local wins elsewhere. Doesn't look very promising for the Republicans going into the midterms. And we didn't send a correspondent to Zohran Mamdani's victory party because, like, why the hell would we do something like that? And we didn't want to be sitting around talking to Hassan Piker all night. So, but we'll talk about it now. I mean, I'm mainly here for the meltdown. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the campaign that Zohran Mamdani ran and the significance of his victory? We actually highlighted his run very early on when he was polling at 1%, just because he was making some interesting videos about the collapsing support for the political duopoly and anger about oligarchy in the U.S.
Yeah, listen, I think he's a real talent, and I think this whole victory is exciting. There was a big grassroots movement behind him. A big source of the momentum for him was just absolute anger, outrage over the bipartisan support for the genocide in Gaza, on top of the fact that he centered real issues, unlike most of the Democrats. And whatever comes of him, personally, I don't think he'll become a sellout. I don't think we're looking at another Obama. Obama, after posing as the savior of the country and having a lot of grassroots support, basically shut down his grassroots apparatus and became a centrist technocrat like all the Democrats before and after him. I don't think Zohran Mamdani will do that. But even if I'm wrong on that, his victory alone, I think, is just something to celebrate because, as you said, look at all the people upset by it. All the people who have been using their great wealth to manufacture consent and obedience for the Gaza genocide, who don't want to see working people in power, don't want to see people of color involved in politics, immigrant communities. So just the symbolism of his victory alone, I think, was a wonderful thing. And, even if he does completely sell out, which I don't think he will, but even if he did, I'm still celebrating this victory because of what it represents.
I don't know what's to sell out. Like, I think the expectations have been set way too high, and I don't even know if he should be held entirely responsible for that. Selling out would mean not arresting Netanyahu if he comes to New York, not even stepping up, not getting rid of Israel bonds. It would mean not attempting to finance free bus fare for the city. It would mean capitulating to the landlords, the slumlords. But these are all sort of vague objectives that are reformist in nature. Democratic socialism closely resembles what the Democratic Party looked like before the Clinton era and definitely before the Jimmy Carter era. It's not that sweeping of a proposal that he's putting forward. I mean, even Ryan Grimm, someone who's been very enthusiastic and much more electoral minded than us, said the same thing, that, he's not actually promising that much. I see it as sort of just a reformist campaign that he ran to take the party back before the neoliberal era, before developers and Wall Street were in charge of every policy, to stand more on the backs of unions. But it's not something like that radical. His opponents have made him out to be a communist jihadist, which I think is, interesting and ironic in light of his father, Mahmoud Mamdani's work on the issue of communism and jihadism. His book, Good Muslim, Bad Muslim. I don't know if it's like around here, somewhere behind me. It helped inspire my book, The Management of Savagery. So since he showed up on stage at the victory party, I decided that's what I'd call this stream. And because of, the debate over Zohran Mamdani's religious heritage, but the book is basically about how the CIA created the jihadist so-called terrorist threat that was invoked after 9/11 by the likes of Dick Cheney to justify a permanent global war and a unitary executive, which Donald Trump is now using to even justify regime change in Venezuela on the basis that its government are narco-terrorists, folding the war on drugs into the war on terror. So the idea that a communist jihadist could be mayor is just absolutely absurd. And it was, I think, these absurd formulations that were thrown at Mamdani, not just within the Democratic Party, but from the right, and the injection of Murdoch media and Donald Trump's forces into the New York campaign, along with Netanyahu's forces, Netanyahu's cutouts in New York City, that actually benefited him and fueled popular outrage at him and wound up tainting not just the political campaign of Andrew Cuomo, but Andrew Cuomo's entire legacy, which was like one scandal and neoliberal policy after another. And this is really the moment it started, when Mamdani was confronted with the essential logic of Zionism in a debate. We've showed this clip before, and I think this is really what put him, vaulted him to the top. It was this exchange.
I would visit the Holy Land.
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism, go to Israel.
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel. My goal would be to take my first trip to Israel.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs.
Yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
As a state with equal rights.
It was no, he won't visit Israel.
I answer questions very directly.
All right,
and I want to
That was brilliant. He showed, first of all, that he cares about the city that he's elected to represent, not a foreign apartheid state. And on the issue of Israel's so-called right to exist, he said, yeah, I believe in a state with equal rights, which exposes, as you said, Zionism for what it is, which is that it's supporting a state that's based on Jewish supremacy. And the fact that that triggered his opponents, but yet they couldn't really articulate why that was so angering them, because to that, you have to admit that you support apartheid. You support a state that privileges one group over another. That really helped him out. And yeah, it was his opponents who made Palestine the issue. It wasn't a big part of his campaign, but because they're so triggered by his support for equal rights, for basic Palestinian rights, they made it a big issue. And that helped him tap into all the outrage there is over our political class's support for Israel.
And it was that which I'd been waiting for a candidate to get on stage with Democrats in the Democratic primary and declare that I am the only candidate that does not support apartheid. I'm the only candidate that supports sanctions on Israel. To actually distinguish yourself, they would benefit from so much popular energy and support.